My name's Kirsty Elson and I'm a Driftwood artist. I've always created, even if it was just making presents for people, Christmas, birthdays, whatever. I studied illustration nearly 20 years ago, and I think even though I knew sort of halfway through the course that illustration wasn't for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think it's sort of the illustrative side of things has definitely stayed with me. Mostly I make sort of coastal scenes or little cottages, sometimes lighthouses. That's kind of my bread and butter, I suppose, but I'm always open to new things and I like to push myself. I won't sort of turn my nose up at anything. If I find something that looks quite interesting, it might sit in, my stash for ages before I know what I'm going to do with it. But then suddenly I'll think, oh my goodness, that looks just like a horse's head or something like that. So I am completely led by the materials I find. If I went out looking for something to fit an idea I had in my head, then I guess I would never find it because it doesn't work like that. My workshop's generally a complete tip. I'm very lucky that I've got 2 workspaces at home. I work in the garage, which is absolutely freezing in the winter, but that's where all the power tools are, and that's where I do all my sawing and sanding, all the mucky stuff, and that's where I store all the wood as well. And then I've got a room upstairs, a bedroom that we've sort of converted to a workshop, where I do all the painting and the fiddly stuff, where it's slightly tidier and a bit less dusty. If I'm a bit short of time, I'll go to Port Wrinkle because it's quite easily accessible and you do get some treasure washed up there. On a good day you can find lots of driftwood, and I've recently discovered as well that there's beech nuts washed up on the shoreline, which actually make really good boats. They're kind of a bit like hazelnuts, so if you cut them in half, they're perfect shape. Quite often they're washed up and stuck in the rocks, so I tend to head for the rocks nearer the back of the beach. And if the tide's out, you can sort of get right round the corner and look in the rocks around there. And just generally on the shoreline, you can see, a line of seaweed and quite often, unfortunately, plastic there as well. But you get some bits of wood lying around there too. If we've had storms, then I might go down for 3 days on the trot. There's obviously only so much I can carry at once, and if it's wet, which it generally is in the winter, then obviously the wood is much heavier. My mum tells me even from an early age, because I grew up by the beach in Devon, I've been told that I always used to collect things from the beach, and I think it's probably just in me. I started making cards from little tiny pieces of driftwood about 15 years ago, and over time my work's developed and become more three-dimensional. I've been earning a living from it for probably the last 10 years. I'm very lucky that I'm able to do it as a job. Very lucky.